Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Backstage Roadmap webinar. My name is Pia, and today we're going to share an update on what's going on in the Backstage ecosystem, as well as our plans for the future. So here's our lineup for today. We'll start off with Joe, who's going to give you an update on our Spotify plugins. And then Blair, who is our partnership manager, going to share our latest ecosystem growth and partnerships. Anthony, our customer success lead, will present our enterprise support tier. And last but not least, Bailey and Jack will introduce our brand new product, Portal. But first, I'd like to spend a few moments on explaining why we believe that Developer Portal is so important for our industry and what problems a Developer Portal like Backstage really solve. So at Spotify, we believe that every business is a software business. And that means that every company is a tech company. Now, even though we may have very different tech stacks, as well as different engineering cultures, we're basically all facing the same kind of problem, which is that software has become increasingly complex to build. Now, why has it become so complex? I think a crowd like this know a whole lot of answers to this question, but let's bring up a few. So for 15-ish years, we have had the microservices trend, which has, of course, solved so many problems for our industry, been so helpful. But it also has meant that engineers need to wade through all of these software components to make sense of them, reason about them, and understand them. On top of that, of course, we have an increase of developer tooling. We're seeing so many more developer tools year by year. And of course, we are seeing a lot of acquisitions. We all kind of have lived through taking over someone else's tech and integrating that with our infrastructure. And then on top of that, of course, dealing with tech debt. And I think there are two more trends that we really need to think about when thinking about complexity for our engineers. And that is that nowadays, many companies also have way more distributed teams. Now that leads to an increased need for stellar asynchronous communication. That need was already very high, of course, before, but now it's greater than ever. And the last trend I think we really need to acknowledge is, of course, AI. AI is changing the way we are working as engineers every month. New tools, new use cases are being presented and introduced, and our engineers are needing to understand and reason about these things. Of course, this is super exciting, but of course, AI also introduces a lot of more tools into the tech tool sprawl that already was pretty big. So all of these and many more things lead to this complex stacks that engineers need to understand, which leads to context switching and increased cognitive load. And that is where Backstage comes in. So we built Backstage in 2017 to solve these needs for ourselves, because we saw all of these problems in our own engineering teams. We wanted to present them with a single pane of glass, which is what Backstage is, so that our engineers can interact with their infrastructure as well as their tools. And at Spotify, we're seeing that this really works. We saw that already back in 2019. And of course, over the years, we have been seeing that this is very replicable by our adopters as well. So for us, we're seeing that the frequent Backstage user, they are 2.3 times more active in our GitHub instance. And they create twice as many code changes and deploy twice as often. And if you want to see more of these success metrics that we're tracking for Backstage, please visit our blog where we have posted this last year. And because maybe you may want to use these success metrics for your own portal. So with confidence, we can say that Backstage makes your team happier, more innovative, and more productive. But we also did realize something else back in 2019 when we were seeing all of these lovely numbers. And that is that we realized we're solving for common needs, which is why we decided to open source Backstage back in 2020. We did that so that Backstage would become the industry standard, because we believe that the developer tooling space, which is constantly evolving due to all of these trends that we were talking about before, need an open standard that can actually keep up with these constantly evolving needs. And of course, today, 4 years after open sourcing Backstage, we are very happy to see that so many agree with us. The Backstage community is thriving and is growing constantly. And we would say the ecosystem is incredibly healthy. Here are some of the lovely numbers that we can see from our community. We now know that we have 2 million developers using Backstage and 2,200 contributors and over 3,000 companies adopting Backstage. Now, these companies range from all kinds of industries and sizes. Now, these may not have much in common as businesses, but they all share these platform engineering needs. And I want to show you this cool graph as well. So if you happen to be at KubeCon this year, you would have heard probably Taylor Dolezal, who is the head of ecosystem at the Linux Foundation, showing this nice graph of, as you can see, the top 10 CNCF projects by number of end user commits. And as you can see, thanks to our very vibrant community, we are at the very top by a lot. So we know that Backstage ecosystem really works. And to summarize why we believe Backstage is a great long-term IDP for the industry, and certainly for us, we think of it as these 3 reasons, and they all build on each other. So the first one to the left here is that we believe that an IDP needs to be extensible. It needs to be in an open framework, because that is very extensible. And today you're going to solve for X, and tomorrow we'll all be solving for Y. So companies need to evolve their IDP as they grow. Secondly, the open standard leads to this diversity of third-party vendors that we are seeing in the Backstage ecosystem, and community solutions, of course. So this is incredibly helpful for all of us. Your favorite DevX vendor is already providing their solution as a Backstage plugin, which is great for their business, of course, but it's fantastic for us in the community, right? Because we don't have to integrate our favorite DevX vendors to our IDP. It's already happened. And sort of leading up to that is then the third reason, which is, of course, that having all of these wonderful vendors, trusted vendors in the ecosystem, there is no vendor lock-in in the Backstage ecosystem. And I think that is a very safe bet for all of us, because an IDP needs to be a long-term choice. And that's why we feel this is the very safe choice to make. So you get to integrate with your favorite of the month AI DevX tool, as well as pick and choose from your very trusted DevX vendors. So we hope that this is sort of an inspiring future for you, as it is for us, making sense as well. But let's look at what Spotify can bring to this party. So at Spotify, we have been solving for these common platform engineering challenges for a number of years. And of course, we are a very mature Backstage adopter. But more than that, we have been rolling out our solutions to our thousands of engineers who are in their turn serving around 600 million Spotify listeners. So that is the scale at which we are operating at Spotify all the time. And we believe that this gives us a unique perspective that enables us to bring this unique value to the Backstage ecosystem. And of course, these are some of these products that we're going to share about later, and we're super excited to share about this later today. But let's look at what then Spotify would bring to the ecosystem. For that to make sense, we will need to understand what are the different needs that the adopters actually need support on. So we loosely categorize the adopter needs into these buckets. First, we have the do-it-yourself companies who have stood up their internal Backstage instance and are all about customizing it themselves. They are basically looking for Backstage plugins from vendors, us, and the community to take their next step into their platform engineering journey. Then we have the hybrids who are looking for a bit more support to stand up their Backstage instance and customize it. And then we have the large pool of companies who are looking for an out-of-the-box solution, which is quickly and fast to get started with and very, very easy to maintain. So that's what we'll be talking about today, because we believe we are going to be able to support all of these 3 different levels of needs. And we're going to start off with Joe, who's going to share how we support the companies that are running their own Backstage instance and are interested in taking that next step in their platform engineering journey to by adding Backstage plugins.
Thanks, Pia. Hi, everyone. My name's Joe. I'm the sales engineer for the Backstage team here at Spotify, and I'm going to talk to you about the Spotify plugins for Backstage. So the goal of my presentation today is to kind of give you all an overview of what we have in our bundle, what's changed since the last time we spoke, and talk about what's also going to be coming down in the future as well. To give you all a quick summary of what we currently have in the bundle today, we have SoundCheck, which is our quality reliability scorecarding solution that's built directly into your Backstage environment, so you can incentivize engineers to get to the best practices that you have across your organization. Role-based access control, or RBAC, which is going to be how you can tailor the permissions of each engineer inside of your Backstage environment to create a unique and custom experience for each one of your engineering teams. Skill Exchange, which is our collaboration platform for on-the-job learning, and it truly becomes a marketplace for understanding where you can upskill, what projects need additional resources, or even just contributing to innovative things like hackathons. And then Insights, which is our analytics tool that gives you a comprehensive window into your Backstage usage, helping you benchmark and identify trends that are going on inside of this Backstage environment. So what I want to do now is just do a quick demo and give you all an overview of what's changed since the last time we spoke. So this is the Backstage environment that I've set up for this. And inside of here, you'll be able to see the different plugins that we've installed into this. I have all sorts of different catalog entities inside of here as well, just to showcase what we have going on under the hood for each of these different plugins available. So inside of here is our Insights plugin that I was mentioning is the analytics tool that we use for tracking the adoption journey that we have inside of our Backstage. Here we've added in headlines. And the whole idea of these headlines is to give you kind of a quick summary and snapshot of what's going on inside of your Backstage environment that you can then look at these trends and dig deeper into them by seeing the data that's under the hood for each of them. So here we have different data points, such as the usage of our Backstage environment, the searches that are going on, what templates are getting executed, and things like that as well. Clicking into here, I can see this view and get deeper into the data behind the Insights plugin. So here we have the view of the usage based on our user segment over the last 90 days. We'll be able to see what usage and trend is going on with the plugins we've installed in this Backstage environment, whether it's custom or your own plugins as well. They'll all be available inside of here. You can also do a breakdown by the different user groups available inside of the Insights plugin. If we want to understand better who are our power users and what user groups maybe aren't using it as much as we would like, such as the toast info that you see here. The nice thing about the Insights plugin is we can cut and slice this data however we see fit. So if I wanted to understand, say, why the toast info team maybe isn't using as much as we would like, I could go back to that plugin view and filter this to the toast info team to see what their Backstage usage looks like and understand the experience that they're having inside of here, where they're spending their time, and maybe what plugins would help them in the future as well. Going into this catalog view, we're able to see a comprehensive window of which entities are getting the most visits. And again, we could filter this by user teams to see which ones they're looking at as well. This search view gives you an understanding of everyone's user intent behind coming into your Backstage environment. So here you'll be able to see what queries are being used across your Backstage, and this will really help you tailor your experience. So say hypothetically, we have this golden path, which is the most frequently queried item inside this Backstage environment. Maybe that's a signal for me to update my user experience to include golden paths in my navigation or my home screen to make it easy for people to find the things that they're looking for. Lastly, in this templates view, we show not just what templates we have inside of our Backstage environment, but how often each of them are getting actually executed as well. So this is going to give you an insight into which templates need to have platform engineering support that constantly need to be updated, or which ones maybe need to be deprecated or need improvements that you could work in creating inner sourcing culture to get those up to date so that those different engineering teams that are going to be utilizing those templates can have the best experience from them as well. Moving on now, I want to showcase what's going on with SoundCheck. So inside of SoundCheck, we've made a lot of improvements when it comes to this tech health dashboards. We've added in some new features and integrations to make it really easy for everyone to find what they're looking for inside of SoundCheck. So inside of the collectors, we've done a lot of work to make it so anyone can tap into whatever data sources they have available to make it really easy to create your own scorecards or what we call tracks in order to get the best quality out of SoundCheck. So over the past few months, we've added in a lot of new integrations such as Azure DevOps Datadog, Jira, New Relic, PagerDuty, SonarQube, and a few more. We're also working directly with the Sneak team on adding an integration for them as well into this tool to make it really easy for you to connect whatever data points you want. And if you don't see an integration with one of the tools you use, don't worry about it. We built a SDK to allow you to build your own custom collectors to make it easy to track data from your own internal tools or from whatever data sources you want that we don't currently have an integration for out of the box. But going back into here, I want to showcase these tech health dashboards and some of the insights I'm able to grab from this. So what you'll notice here is we're able to see a holistic view of everything going on in SoundCheck across all of the different scorecards that are currently running. So here you can see we have this filter to this test certified track. So I'm able to understand how we're currently performing with testing across all of our different projects inside of Backstage. I'm able to look at this data from a bunch of different lenses. If I want to understand the different checks that are going on inside of this scorecard and the overall pass rate of those, I can view this data to see the current pass rates. I can look at the individual entities to understand the overall progress we're making with these, whether we're passing or failing across the different entities inside of Backstage. And I can look at the team view to understand what teams are doing well and what teams maybe need some encouragement to do better with this testing in place across the entities that they own. But going back into this checks view, what I've noticed right away is that we're doing a great job at alerting and CI and CD across our different scorecards that we've put in place. But one thing that we're not doing the best job at currently is our code coverage check. Inside of here, you'll notice that we're currently not really doing that great. Only 2/3 of our entities are passing this check, which is requiring that we have at least 50% code coverage across each project that's currently running this code coverage check. Maybe we can use our new feature that we call campaigns to kind of streamline that and get an initiative out to make those improvements over time across the organization. So here's our campaigns feature. The whole idea of this is short-term objectives that we want to meet and kind of trigger people to make those changes across the organization by utilizing these campaigns to create an initiative to set notifications in place and notify each team of what entities they own that are currently failing this initiative and what they need to do to start passing it. So here I've created a code coverage campaign. And the whole idea of this is that we're going to set in a Slack channel for code coverage, which will send notifications and identify each team of what entities they own that are currently failing this check. I've set a start and end date for this campaign, which is a quarter out from now. I've added my check that I want to include into this campaign, which is that code coverage check. I've set what entities I want it to run on inside of my Backstage environment by putting filters in place to only have it run on specific components. And I've also added some milestones, which will give me notifications of when we're reaching the different milestones that we're after. So we want to reach 100% pass rate across every entity. And then I can save this specific campaign. And what's going to happen under the hood is it's going to identify every single entity in this Backstage environment that's meeting my filter, that's currently failing this campaign. It's going to notify those teams in that Slack channel of what they need to do to start improving upon that code coverage metric. And then we can sit back and utilize those tech health dashboards to understand the progress we're making over time to see if we're going to meet our milestones. And we'll get notified as soon as we do as well. This makes it really easy to set initiatives in place and address things such as vulnerability management, infrastructure upgrades, or just company-wide initiatives that you need to roll out. Moving on to RBAC. What we've added into the RBAC policies since the last time we spoke is the ability to understand better what's going to happen under the hood with the different permissions that we've rolled out. So inside of this RBAC environment, I currently only have one permission in place, which is an admin that allows everyone to do every single thing. Let's go ahead and quickly add in a new role to this, and let's call it something like the front-end engineering team. Here I can add specific users such as myself to this policy and role. I can add a team such as the Backstage team to this as well. And I'm going to add in some permission decisions. To say for this front-end engineering team, I only want to give them access to front-end components inside of this Backstage environment. What I can do in here is add in some conditions that will allow me to do that. So say we have some conditions where we want to add and only see entities that are tagged with front-end in this Backstage environment. And let's add another condition, or maybe seeing entities that are tagged with backend. I'm sorry, not backend, with React. So saving this and going back into this policy, and let's up the priority. Now I really want to understand how this is going to work and what the behavior will look like in this Backstage environment. So what I'm going to do is utilize this new policy tester that we've rolled out. Here I can select what roles I want to test and what permissions I want to test it against. By running this simulation, I'll be able to see which permissions will get applied based on the roles that have come out. And what you'll see in here is that we're allowing each of these to do all of these different actions inside of the Backstage environment, with the exception of the catalog entity read, which is going to be conditional based on that front-end engineering team that I rolled out. Here you'll be able to look at this and kind of break down exactly what's going to happen under the hood. So here we have an understanding of why this is going to be conditional, what metadata keys are going to be a part of this, and give you a real understanding of what's going to be broken down so you can tailor the experience for your engineers as you see fit and understand the behavior behind it as well behind it. Cool. Moving on to skill exchange, what we worked on over the past, since the last time we spoke, was the ability to really break down these skills and make it easy for anyone to add in new skills to their skill profile when it comes to the skill exchange tool. So the first view we have in here is all about collaboration. It's all about finding people with the specific skills that may be able to help out with a project, maybe willing to mentor you, or maybe just being able to give you advice as you see fit for your own career growth and development. So if I search for something like JavaScript, I'll be brought up with all the people that have added JavaScript to their skill profile. Clicking on someone like Morgan, I'll be able to see their full skill profile on their user entity directly inside of Backstage with what they currently can help with and what they're currently trying to learn as well. So maybe there's a mutual benefit if I'm an expert in something like gRPC, and they could maybe help me with something like JavaScript. This is all powered by your skill profile inside of Skill Exchange. And if I go into here, what's going to happen under the hood is I'm able to customize my own skill profile. What we've worked on recently is adding in the ability to customize your skill profile and get recommendations based on the skills that others might have similar skills in their current skill profile as well. I know it's a mouthful, but let me show you what I mean by this. So say hypothetically we are working through and we know Java pretty well. So I've added in Java to my skill profile. What it's going to do now is give me recommendations based on that skill of what other skills people that have added Java to their skill profile also have on their skill profile. So now I'm able to add Kotlin very easily to my skills and say that's something I'm familiar with, but I'm an expert in TypeScript as well. I'm able to save all of this to my skill profile, which makes it really easy for me to add skills to this. And then it enables all the other features of Skill Exchange to be really easy to use as well. Coming into here, we have another update that we've made is all about the hacks. We've made a lot of improvements to the UI and UX for the hackathons so that you can organize and understand what's going on, what projects are currently being worked on, what's currently votable, or what hackathons are currently going on as well. We've added a lot of different statuses so that you're able to tap into and understand the current behavior of those. We've added in the different events so you can see a breakdown of each of these different hack projects going on. And again, back to that skill profile, we've added in the skills that are required for these different hack projects so you can find out which ones will be a benefit for you to contribute to as well. The other improvement we've made is all about the voting blocks inside of here. So if I go back into here and we see which ones are votable. Here I'm able to add in and cast votes for my favorite hacks, what are the most creative and the best hacks ever. This will help you boost innovation across your organization. And say you have a lot of different hack projects that are available, you can maybe break this down by the ones that are the top upvoted hacks that you could then work on across your organization so that each one of these projects has resources behind it that can contribute to the specific projects then in the future. Now I want to talk to you all about what's next. So what we've heard from our customers is that they want to be able to marry both the quantitative data that they're getting from the Insights plugin with qualitative data as well. So one of the newest features that we're going to be adding into the Insights plugin is the ability to do surveys directly inside of the tool. So here you'll be able to see an example of one of these surveys, and the type that we've added in is a pop-up survey around Soundcheck. Again, Soundcheck is that plugin that we were showing you earlier, but here we're able to add a pop-up survey directly into the tool to get feedback directly from these by these engineers who are your customers. The benefit of doing something like this is it'll live directly on the plugin where your engineers are spending their time, so it makes it really easy to get people to fill out these specific surveys. And what you'll see behind here is that we've gotten feedback about the usability of Soundcheck and the overall score that we've gotten over time based on this usability as well, and the satisfaction they have. We're able to see how many of our engineers have filled out the survey. And the even better part is we're able to get some specific data points from these engineers based on the feedback they've given us to share directly with the product team behind SoundCheck to make those improvements over time and make it easy to add in whatever improvements you want over time for anyone to be able to contribute that. Now, this is just one type of survey that we plan on rolling out. We have a bunch of others that we're thinking through as well, and that's going to be available sometime in this fall. The other plugin that we have currently in an alpha that we're currently looking for adopters or testers to roll out with us is this data experience plugin. The whole idea of the data experience plugin is it's going to give you the ability to add data sets directly into your Backstage catalog. Benefits of this is you'll be able to have one single pane of glass view of all of your different data sets, regardless of what source they're coming from. Inside of here, you'll be able to add in metadata, the schemas, the ownership, upstream and downstreams, whatever it's going to be, all available directly inside of Backstage that'll then make it searchable and discoverable across any different data platform that you have. This is really beneficial because then you can add on additional plugins that we've also supported inside of the data experience plugin, such as SoundCheck. So SoundCheck is going to be able to give you scorecards. So imagine being able to add in a scorecard around data compliance and data governance to make it really easy for anyone to get the value and understand the current score of each of these different data sets that you've rolled out. This plugin is actively looking for testers, so I encourage you to reach out if this is of interest to you. And again, for any of our plugins, I encourage you to reach out to us. Below is the link to learn more about the different plugins that we have available inside of our bundle. And yeah, this QR code will also take you directly to this link available as well. So that's all about the plugins for today. Next, I'm going to hand it off to Blair to talk to you about how you can get more out of your Backstage environment with the help of partners.
Thanks, Joe. Hi, everyone. I'm Blair Fraser. I'm the partnership lead here on the Backstage team. I'm super excited to be here with you all to discuss some of the work that we've been doing to grow our Backstage ecosystem. I want to start by saying that we heard your feedback and we're taking strides to partner with organizations that you value collaborating with the software vendors that you already have in your tech stack or that you might be evaluating to include in your tech stack. While we are very early on in our partnership journey, we have taken the steps to start to create that global partner ecosystem of leading partners who we're going to create plugins with, who we're going to create integrations with, and who can also provide some support and services. Let's start with the support and services partners. In just a minute, Anthony is going to share with you how you can get direct access to the experts here at Spotify. But we know that sometimes large organizations might need some additional support on change management or strategic guidance on platform engineering. We have partnerships with ThoughtWorks, Frontside, and Adaptivist, who all offer services that can help you achieve both your business and your technical goals. If you already work with these partners, great. If you would like us to make introductions, we're more than happy to do that. You can reach out and we'll put you in touch with those partners. Next, I want to take a couple of minutes to share with you some of the work that we are doing with technology partners. For those of you who joined us on our last webinar, you might remember that we launched the Spotify Marketplace for Backstage late last year. Throughout this year, we have added some additional partner plugins, including Rootly for incident management and DX for data aggregation and visualization, just to name a few. This year, we are going to continue to invest in adding partner-supported plugins and integrations into the Spotify Marketplace for Backstage. Some of the plugins that will be available in the next few months are a Linear B plugin that will allow you to access your software engineering intelligence metrics right within Backstage. We're also really excited to expand our partnership with Sneak. So not only will you continue to be able to access your Sneak data within Backstage with the Sneak plugin, but as Joe mentioned, we are also adding a Sneak custom fact collector to SoundCheck. Swim has created a Backstage integration into Tech Docs that can help you keep your knowledge base continuously updated. I want to reiterate that we want to ensure that all of the integrations that we're focused on are going to be of value to you and to our customers and to adopters. So take, for instance, RVO Health. They are a longtime Backstage adopter who was using Swim to help keep their documentation kind of seamlessly updated. It's really streamlined their developers' workflow. This year, I'm very pleased to announce that we will also have a unique Swim plugin joining the Backstage Marketplace. Switching gears for just a minute, let's talk about hyperscalers. We know that many of our customers and Backstage adopters are working with our large cloud providers to help you scale your own businesses. We are collaborating with the top cloud providers to have Backstage better support your cloud infrastructure. The AWS plugins for Backstage are currently available in the open source directory, and they will also be available on the Spotify Marketplace for Backstage later this year. A reference architecture that was built by GCP for running Backstage on GCP will be available on GitHub soon. I'm also very pleased to announce that we have plans this year to have all of our commercial Backstage offerings listed on both the AWS and GCP marketplaces. So stay tuned for more information on that. If you are interested in partnering with us, or if you have any feedback of who you would like to see us partner with, you can do that by filling out the partner interest form by scanning the QR code on your screen or by clicking the link that's appearing in the chat. We love hearing what you all are building for Backstage and how we can support you. Speaking of support, here's Anthony to talk to you about how we're helping Backstage adopters with our enterprise support services. Anthony?
Thank you, Blair. Hello, everyone. My name is Anthony, and today we're diving deep into a new service offering, unlocking the full potential of Backstage with Spotify's experience, expertise, and guidance. We've been doing this for a while, but we haven't talked about it publicly, so we're excited to announce our new offering we're calling Enterprise Support. One size doesn't fit all when it comes to adopting Backstage, and that's why our approach is all about catering to the diverse needs and preferences of each adopter. Whether you're just starting with Backstage or looking to optimize your existing setup, we're here to help you get unstuck and move forward with confidence. Our enterprise support offering has two distinct services. With our support services, adopters can sign up for our expert tech support with clear response SLAs to keep their productivity humming. We'll also provide comprehensive security reviews and proactive incident notifications so your time and data are both well protected. With our consulting services, adopters can get hands-on implementation to start or scale your Backstage implementation, all based on proven strategies from organizations using Backstage today, including our R&D community here at Spotify. So what exactly do we bring to the table? First, imagine having a personalized roadmap for your Backstage adoption journey. We have firsthand experience based on our own adoption and our experience working with adopters of all sizes, industries, organizational structures. No matter where you're at in your Backstage journey, we can help at any situation. For example, if you're early in your Backstage journey, we can create a customized journey map that aligns to the most important needs of your organization while guiding you through implementation best practices to accelerate time to value. Say if you're later in your Backstage adoption journey, we can help overcome common adoption roadblocks we've seen in situations similar to yours. Second, security is paramount in today's software landscape. Enterprise support offering provides unique benefits to you as an open source Backstage adopter. First, we'll proactively notify you of security incidents that arise through source code Backstage owns and maintains. This applies to the Backstage core plugins such as Catalog, Scaffolder, TechDocs, and common core Backstage packages. Secondly, we'll have a team of Backstage security experts ready to review your Backstage production architecture to ensure your organization has a production-ready Backstage instance to tackle the most common security issues. Both of these benefits ensure that your time and data are well protected. And when you hit a snag, don't worry. Enterprise support receives support from Spotify experts with guaranteed response time SLAs. These benefits ensure you as the adopter that help is just a few clicks away. We have quotes from some of our current enterprise adopters who provide us with feedback on their experience and impact partnering with Spotify Backstage through this offering. First, here's a background on this adopter. Seismic is the platform that empowers customer-facing organizations with the skills, content, tools, and insights they need to delight clients and grow the business. Seismic provides end-to-end sales enablement solutions that increases sales productivity and marketing effectiveness by delivering the right content at the right time on any device. So, here's what Seismic expressed about their partnership so far and how it's benefited their Backstage adoption. Since purchasing Spotify's plugin bundle with enterprise support, Seismic has been able to accelerate the rollout of service maturity capabilities built on top of the Backstage software catalog. Access to the experts in Spotify support in our shared Slack channel has shortened turnaround time when we encounter an issue or a decision point with the Backstage framework or Soundcheck plugin. Moving on to consulting services, what's included? Our Backstage experts will come into your day-to-day work to understand your customer needs, build out your product roadmap, and scale your Backstage implementation hands-on. This will include engineering, custom plugin development, and scaling your Backstage architecture to the fluctuating needs of your organization. What are the next steps? If you're intrigued by what you've heard today and are eager to learn more, we encourage you to reach out to us. Whether you're a new or seasoned Backstage adopter, there's always more to explore and optimize. Thank you all for joining us today and showing interest in partnering with Spotify on your Backstage adoption journey. And now I'll hand it over to Bailey and Jack. They'll talk about the newest ways we'll make it easy for companies to get up and running with Backstage.
Thanks, Anthony. Hi, everyone. I'm Bailey. I'm a product manager here at Spotify. As you know, we at Spotify use Backstage like crazy. Since its creation in 2017, we have truly stretched it to its limits, with teams across Spotify shipping all kinds of plugins. So every squad and organization across the company could build their value directly into this single pane of glass. And once we open source Backstage, other companies were eager to do the same. We saw so many teams find success using Backstage and our plugin bundle alongside it. With Backstage, you're getting the building blocks, and you can extend and shape it as you need. But the more companies we worked with, the more we realized it truly is not one size fits all. Some companies don't have the capacity or the time to invest in a solution that is so innately custom. We started to wonder if there might be a better way. What if we could build something that was more opinionated, based on all of these firsthand experiences, something that was easier to adopt and ultimately just gets you to value drastically quicker? With that, I'm super excited to introduce you to Spotify Portal for Backstage. Portal is a no-code IDP that's based on the robust Backstage framework, but comes ready to go with built-in expertise from Spotify. It's designed to be more opinionated and guided, helping teams of any size get up and running quickly, maximizing value from day one. We've built platform engineering best practices directly into Portal, making sure that you have what you need every step of the way, from onboarding your software catalog to building your first software templates. With Portal, the setup is faster, the maintenance is lower, and your teams can focus more on what they do best. Today, we're taking a step forward in making IDPs accessible to teams of all shapes and sizes. We really believe Portal will get you to this value faster, making your teams more efficient, your systems more reliable, and your developers happier, quicker than ever. We are shipping with step-by-step onboarding features that can get you into a working Portal instance in under 10 minutes. You'll set up authentication, add your team, and set up your source control, all without writing a single line of code. The onboarding help does not stop there. We'll also guide you through setting up the selection of core features and plugins that we're supporting at launch. These include catalog, search, scaffolder or software templates, tech docs, and soundcheck. The catalog experience in Portal is seamless too. The team has built a catalog wizard that feels like magic, taking all of the guesswork out of how to represent your company's projects and content within Portal. Soundcheck, one of our fan favorite plugins, comes and makes an appearance in Portal as well, and comes with canned checks, so you can start rolling out checks as soon as your catalog is in. We've been building Backstage internally for years, and we put all of our learnings into every user experience detail across Portal. You don't need an engineering team to build and maintain your IDP. Portal can do that for you. Today, we're launching our limited beta. We'll start accepting waitlist signups today and start reaching out to organizations on a rolling basis over the next few weeks. For this limited beta, we're focused on net new adopters that use GitHub, who do not have an existing Backstage instance. We'll work with this initial cohort to shape our future roadmap and get plenty of feedback before rolling out to more users. Now, to give you a closer look at how Spotify Portal works and some of the features that I've hinted at, I'll hand it over to Jack, who will walk you through some technical details and a live product demo.
Thanks, Bailey. Hi, everyone. I'm Jack, lead engineer for Portal. I'm super excited to share with you just some of the many features of Portal. As the creators of Backstage, we really understand the platform. We created Portal to share with you Spotify's take on Backstage, with emphasis on quickly unlocking the value of the platform in your organization. A successful IDP is one that closely reflects your company. You need to be able to do this quickly, easily and accurately to unlock value to your developers. Portal will assist you through the process of getting your organization into the platform, asking you to provide only a few details to get up and running. Backstage has so much functionality to offer, but it's often tricky to know what to set up next. With Portal, we'll guide you to unlock Backstage's full potential. Once you have successfully created your instance, Portal will provide with you a setup guide. Able to be picked up and returned to at any point, the setup guide assists you through our recommended next steps of your Backstage journey. Each step adds context to the value it brings, from adding your first component to the software catalog to enabling tech docs or soundcheck. The guide simplifies the process and explains the value gained. When it comes to the software catalog, currently Backstage only offers 2 ways to add your components, whether it's manually via the catalog import tool or via discovery. They both require a pre-existing catalog info file in the repository. This is an issue for many new users of Backstage. The structure and the contents of this file is unknown without prior knowledge of the software catalog and requires manual intervention. Portal solves this by providing a catalog wizard. With the catalog wizard, Portal will discover components that belongs to the user's team and automatically create the catalog info file for them. The user no longer needs to have prior knowledge of the software catalog. Portal handles that for you. At Spotify, we keep the cost of ownership to a minimum, allowing our engineers to focus on the product and not the maintenance. Today with Backstage, as an adopter, you own the codebase and are required to be able to program in TypeScript and React. With Portal, we take care of the codebase for you. This means no more code changes needed to integrate a plugin, no manual effort to keep up to date with the latest version of Backstage. Portal handles that all for you. Portal will notify you when a new version is available, and a simple redeployment will give you the latest features that Backstage and Portal has to offer. Plugins can also be enabled and disabled within the product without any code changes, without any redeployments, immediately to all users of the product. Thanks to Portal, the overhead to run Backstage within an organization is significantly reduced. When it comes to configuration, in Backstage, you have to edit config files, build and redeploy to roll out these changes to your users. With Portal, this is all done within the application with what we are calling the config manager. Available to only admin users, the config manager is a UI representation of Backstage's config. From within Portal, you can discover application and plugin-specific configuration that makes changes immediately to the application. Descriptions are shown for all the fields and changes are validated to ensure that it's compatible with Backstage. Previously, this would require local development to test out configuration. Now it can be done immediately. Let's take a look at all these amazing features together. Welcome to Portal. This is the root user sign-in page when you first visit Portal. We don't have any user setup at the moment, so we have this root user to control the setup. So if I log in, this then takes you to the setup wizard. From here, you can select your provider. Currently, we only support GitHub. Selecting from here, you can see that we support github.com, GitHub Enterprise Cloud, and GitHub Enterprise Server. You have to enter an access token and a client ID and secret for an OAuth application so that you can sign in and authenticate with GitHub into your Portal instance. Now on this next page, you can select which organizations you want to bring into Backstage. So I'll select this organization. This means that all users in this GitHub organization will be able to log into Portal. From these users, you can also select which of these you want to be administrators. Final confirmation page, and with one click, you can create your Portal instance. In a very, very few steps, you've already got a Backstage instance up and running, full with authentication as well. Now that I've completed the setup wizard, I am now logged out of the root user and is asking me to sign in with my GitHub credentials. Success. This is the setup guide you'll first be greeted with. These are recommendations on how to get the most value out of your Portal instance. The very first step we recommend is to add components to your software catalog. What happens in this this catalog wizard is that it will go and look to see which teams that you are a member of within GitHub. These are the 2 teams that I'm part of. So I'll select the Sharks team. Now Portal is going to look at the repositories and try and work out what repositories in that organization it believes belongs to that team. You can add more if needed and remove any that is discovered. But in this case, it's found demo website. And all I have to do is just inform Portal with what type of component this is. So selecting website takes me to a confirmation page. And then kicking create pull requests, it should open a pull request on GitHub for me. So let's take a look. There's a description for the code reviewers here. But what you can see that Portal's done is that it's created this catalog info file for me. I do not need any context to know that I need a catalog info file or the structure of this file. Portal is already starting to provide these values for me. You can see that it's using the component type that we specified, and also it's set the owner as the team that I selected. Merging this in should mean that in a few moments, it will be reflected within Portal itself. So let's go take a look. When I go to the catalog, you can see that the demo website is now available for me in here with the correct owner of Sharks. You can see how with a few clicks, the catalog onboarding wizard is already starting to build your catalog for you. And you can see that you're starting to build up relationships here of who owns what software. That's not the only way that you can import into the catalog. We can also register manually for when you've already got a catalog info file. I've got a component here, demo backend, that already has a catalog info file. And if I import that in and go to my catalog, then you can see that demo backend has also been added and it's picked up the owner. When I go back to the setup guide, it's now unlocked the next steps it recommends to get the most value out of Portal. You can see this is how you can enable tech docs and also how you can enable scaffolder. But the next step I want to do is I want to improve tech health in my organization. So I'm going to select enable soundcheck. In a few clicks, you can see that I've added the soundcheck plugin to Portal, which wasn't previously there. Soundcheck has now appeared in my sidebar here. If I go and select the catalog and I look at that demo backend, the soundcheck tab has now appeared on my entity page. And selecting here, you can see the default checks and tracks that come shipped with Portal and soundcheck. These are just foundations for you to improve tech health across your organization and can be extended and modified to how you see fit. Now, as an admin user, I have the ability to go and look at the config manager. On doing so, I can see the status of all the plugins that are currently running. We previously saw TechDocs and Scaffolder listed in the setup guide, but they're currently not running. And Soundcheck, which we've just enabled, you can see is set as running. Diving into this plugin, you've got the ability to stop and start them where possible. And you've also got its configuration all in one page for you. But that's not what I want to do today. I want to be able to change the name of my organization. This is something that is not easily discoverable within Backstage. And I could be jumping into all these individual plugins to understand how to do that. With a search bar, you can search for individual pieces of config. So in this case, I can look for organization. And Portal will take me exactly to where I need to go to change this config file. There's a description as well to explain what you're going to be changing. And I don't want my company, I want a webinar demo. Clicking Save Changes. Then from all within the product, I've updated my organization. This would be something that would require a code commit to the config file, build and redeployment to be able to see these changes. Within a few seconds, you can see that I've updated the config for everyone. So that webinar demo is now the name of my organization. This has only been a few minutes of me using Portal from the very initial page. And you can see that I'm already up and running with components in my catalog and the ability for different users to be able to log into the product. Now back to the slides. Portal is utilizing the latest and greatest from Backstage and is using cutting edge technology that is starting to be introduced to the community. Portal is powered by the new front-end and back-end systems, as well as the new auth improvements, which means the application is secure by default. Our engineers work very closely with the Backstage community, collaborating and iterating to ensure that we contribute back to the open source and to help shape the future of the platform. And that's Spotify Portal for Backstage. If you want to try it out for yourself, we invite you to apply for the beta. We are all users of Backstage, and we know that feedback is essential to creating a great developer experience. With Portal, we really want to build an IDP that meets your needs, and we can't wait to have more companies up and running with it so we can see what you think. Now, before I pass you back to Pia, here's a quick video that shows our excitement for everything we have shared with you today.
Thanks, Jack. So as you can see, with enterprise support and Portal, Spotify can help even more companies adopt Backstage and maximize their value. And remember what I said in the beginning, these are the needs that we are picking up from all of our adopters, from the do-it-yourselves to the out-of-the-box to everything in between. We want to support them all. And we want to do that through these different offerings. So you can up-level your Backstage instance through our Spotify plugins, or you can use our enterprise support to support you through standing up Backstage, customizing it, and maintaining it. Or you can reach out to Bailey and Jack to get started with Portal, which is, of course, our fully featured portal, running it as Spotify does. And with that, I just want to make one last point before we let you all go. And that is that Backstage is not just an internal developer portal. It's a whole ecosystem. That this ecosystem is sort of focusing on developer experience and the developer productivity. And Spotify, we are very glad to be part of this ecosystem. And with that, we are wrapping up. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us and email us. You see the link here in the chat. And this is the QR code. And thank you so much for joining.